Okay guys, this is Lulu's week 2 video recap. I'm going to start out by offering her that flirt pole. I want to see if she wants to play for a minute or two before we get started here. So as a reminder, when she's in possession of that toy, I am not dragging her across the floor or lifting her up off the ground. Sometimes when the puppies get down here, they know it's time to work and that they're going to get food, so sometimes they're a little more interested in me, and that's alright. But I want to at least offer this to her before we get started here. Probably also doesn't help with the drawstring to my pants. Looks like a toy, right? Okay. What do you think? Do we want to get started, Lulu? Alright, I think we'll get started and then maybe I'll offer her the flirt pole about like halfway through. Okay, so we're going to start out by reviewing some stuff from week 1, and then we will move into the new stuff that we learned in week 2. So we are going to start out by charging our clicker, just like we've been doing at the beginning of each training session. So as a reminder, when I am charging the clicker, I am not asking Lulu for any behaviors. It is just so that she has a really solid association between hearing the click and getting a piece of food. And I'll do this maybe 4 times before we get started here. I am going to move between each one because I want her following me to get to that food. And I am just making sure that all 4 paws are on the ground when I feed her. Good job, Lulu. Okay, right from here, we're going to review following a food lure. So just as a reminder, when we're using a food lure, we're going to hold it in a nice flat hand with our thumb. And then we want our palm facing our dog. So I want Lulu to stay connected to that food the whole time we're moving. And then I'm just going to click and release the food after we take a couple of steps together. And then I do like to practice this with both hands. Good job, Lulu. And I want to see that she's able to change directions as well. Good girl. And then we've been continuing to pair this with her name as well. Where are you, silly? Lulu! 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 What a good puppy. We've been continuing to review our hand targets. So this week we want to see if the puppies will offer it to us without us having to have a food lure in our hand. I am still going to mark and reward the behavior when she does it, but I just want to offer a flat hand and start to fade out that food lure. Lulu, touch. Let's try that one again. I'm going to see if I can hold my hand a little lower so she doesn't jump up. Lulu, touch. We'll try again here. Lulu, touch. Better, yeah. So she, like as soon as I click, or at the same time I click, she's pawing at me, and I don't want to reinforce that behavior. So I really want to see if she'll just hit my hand and I click before she's able to put a paw up. I just want to get her out of that habit. Lulu, touch. Better. And again, making sure I feed with 4 paws on the ground. Lulu, touch. Good girl. Lulu, touch. Good job. Okay. And then we also have been reviewing our sits this week. So in week 1, we do use a food lure to teach them that position, but in week 2, we want to start to fade out that food lure if we can. So I want to see if she'll offer it to me. I will still mark and reward the behavior. I will give her follow-up cookies for maintaining position, and I will use that okay cookie to let her out of position. Lulu, sit. Okay. Very nice. Lulu, sit. Good girl. Okay. We'll do that again. Good job, Lulu. Lulu, sit. So if she sinks into a down, I'm just going to help her get back into the correct position before I feed again. Okay, I want to do one more with her. Lulu, sit. Good girl. Okay, very nice. All right. Let me offer her the flirt pull for a moment here. Good girl, Lulu. Get it. Oh my goodness. So we're going to move into the new things that we taught this week. I'm still getting the puppies used to wearing a harness. So after we're done playing for a minute here, I will put the harness on Lulu, and then we're going to move into our flying cookie game, which is new this week. Should we move on? All right. So I do like to hold her since she's so little while I'm getting her dressed in this harness here. Oh my goodness. You're such a little wiggle worm. Yeah. So this harness has the Velcro and the clip. I believe these are the ones that she's going to send home with the puppies. Okay. So now that she's in that harness, let's play our flying cookie game. This is a really fun game that we can play with our puppies to work on name recognition. So I'm going to show Lulu a piece of food. I'm going to tell her, go get it, and I'm going to toss it away. As she's finishing up eating that piece of food, I'm going to call her name. As soon as she turns in response to her name, that's when I'm going to mark with the clicker. And then she's going to come back to me to get the food from my hand. So I'm going to show her the food first. Go get it. Lulu. And if she sits down in front of me, I'm just going to reward close to my body. I want her coming all the way back to me. So I'll show her another one, and then I'm going to toss it in different directions. Go get it. Lulu. Good puppy. Go get it. Lulu. Good girl. We'll do a few more here. Go get it. Lulu. Good girl. You're so happy. Go get it. Lulu. Good girl. We'll do one more. Go get it. Lulu. Good puppy. Good job. Okay. And then while she's still wearing the harness, maybe we'll do a couple of hand targets. Lulu, touch. Lulu, touch. I'm going to grab a piece of food for this one. You silly girl. There we go. Good girl. I'm going to do one more with a food lure here. Touch. Good job. And then we're going to do a sit with her. Okay. You're so stinking cute. Come here. Lulu, sit. Smart girl. Okay. Good job. All right. So now we're going to take that harness off. Good job. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we worked on a new stationary position this week, and that is our down position. So I do find the easiest way to teach this is to get our dog into a sit first. I am going to use a food lure since this is brand new to Lulu this week. Just like our sits, I'm going to reward her for duration. And I'm going to use that OK cookie to let her out of position. So when I'm working on a down, I like to reward right on the floor between the dog's paws, because if they can start to expect that the food will happen on the floor when they're in that position, they'll be more likely to stay in that position. So she's already in a SIT, so I'm going to show her the food, and I'm just going to very slowly bring my hand to the floor, down. As soon as her elbows hit the floor, that's when I'm marking, putting the food right down on the floor, giving her a follow-up for staying in position, okay, using that OK cookie to release her out of position. We'll do that a couple more times here. Lulu, down. Good puppy. Okay. Lulu, down. Smart girl. Okay, let's do one more. Lulu, down. What a good girl. Okay, nice work, Lulu. All right. We're going to move right into our magic mat. So our criteria for this week is that we want to see if Lulu will find her way to the mat and settle into a down position instead of just having all 4 paws on the mat. So I will move the mat around between repetitions, maybe the first 2 reps, but then I do want to start to leave it in the same spot because I want to see after I toss that reset cookie if she'll make her way back to it without me having to move it. Okay. Lulu, mat. So I want to give her a few seconds to try to figure it out. If she's not getting it, let's see how she's looking for the food, I'm going to help her, okay? So I might need to help her the first few repetitions to find that position. I'm going to reward for duration, just like I was doing for a down off of the mat. But notice how I'm not actually telling her down, because when we tell her mat, that should encompass her finding her way to her mat and settling into a down position. So we can accomplish that with just 1 cue instead of 2. Okay, I'm going to move the mat. Lulu, mat. So I'm going to help her again right away. Okay, I'm going to move the mat. I'm going to help her one more time. Lulu, mat. Okay, now so I'm going to see if she'll offer it. Lulu, mat. So I'm going to wait her out. There it is. What a good puppy. You're a smart girl. Okay, now I'm going to leave the mat in the same spot. Lulu, mat. What a good girl. Okay, we'll do another one. Lulu, mat. Good girl. Okay, and then just making sure I pick up that mat when we're done using it. Good girl, Lulu. Okay. Alright, we also started to introduce the crate to the puppies this week. So for this week, criteria is I just want her to get all 4 paws in the crate. I will reward her a few times for spending a little bit of time in the crate. And then I want to start to teach her to wait at the threshold until I release her instead of just rushing out of the crate. So let me bring that out. So the first few times I may need to toss a piece of food in there, but the idea is that eventually I want her to go in on cue. Lulu, kennel. Want to see if she'll get all 4 paws in. Oh, so close. You got 3. There it is. Okay. So I want to try to feed her a few times for having all 4 paws in there. And then, okay, I'm going to toss that reset. Lulu, kennel. Good girl. So again, rewarding her for hanging out in there for a few moments, meeting her at the threshold. Okay. Good job. Lulu, kennel. Good girl. Nice work. Okay. We'll do one more. Lulu, kennel. Good girl. You're so smart. Okay. Nice work. All right. We'll end that there. Okay. The last thing that we did with Lulu in week 2 is we started to introduce some grooming tools. So we're going to use a brush and a pair of nail clippers today. So I am not going to actually be clipping her nails, just introducing her to seeing and feeling the tools. I am going to get down on the floor with her. You could certainly do this in a standing position if you have a table or something that's elevated that you can put your puppy on. You just want to make sure that if you're putting them up on something, it's safe. They're not going to fall off of it. So I'm going to toss a little cookie away from me so she's not crawling under me while I sit down here. Okay, Lulu. So as a reminder, I'm just using a verbal yes when we're working on this instead of the clicker. Mainly because I have to hold the food and the tools and I only have 2 hands. So this is going to work very similarly to our body handling, where I'm going to get Lulu on a piece of food first before I bring out the brush. I'm going to start with the flat side of the brush and I'm just going to bring it down her spine. Yes. Yes. Okay, and then I'm going to move on to flipping the brush over so she can start to feel the bristles a little bit. Yes. Good puppy. Yes. We'll do that one more time. Yes, good job. Okay, and then we're going to move on to our nail clippers. So I'm going to start the same way with the nail clippers by just bringing them down her spine to start, and then we'll move on to touching her paws with them. So getting her on that piece of food first before I bring out the nail clippers, just bringing them down her spine. Yes, what a good puppy. Still chewing? Yes, good girl, Lulu. Okay, and then from here I'm going to move on to just touching the clippers to each paw. Yes. Yes. And let's see if I can get her standing up for these back ones. Yes. Yes, good girl. And then from here, I'm going to move into actually picking up a paw while I'm holding it. So I'm going to do this the same way that I was working with their paws last week, where I start at the top of the leg and then slide my hand down and pick up a paw, instead of just reaching right in and picking up her paw right off the bat. So I'm going to get her on that piece of food first. Going to start up at the top of the leg, bring my hand down, and then pick up that paw. Yes, good girl. Oh my goodness. Yes. Good girl. See See if I can turn her around for the last two. Yes. Good girl. And we'll see if we can get that back paw. So I'm okay if she wants to sniff the nail clippers and investigate a little bit, as long as she doesn't start trying to chew on them. I don't want her to think it's a toy. Yes. Nice work, Lulu. That is it for Lulu's week 2 video recap. Make sure that you're looking at your video library as well as your handouts. Those will give you a lot more detailed information on all the skills that we worked on with Lulu in week 2. Good job,